Okay, we're live. And let's get cracking. I'm going to be using two particular colors today. They are going to be magenta and magenta. Um, you may choose to call them whatever colors you like, but they're in the magenta range. And I will also be putting some more white down to fill in all these spaces which are left at the moment. That's the general plan. So this is, yeah, so we're just building up what this flower is going to look like. So we'll just go to a closer shot. There we go. I think that's pretty accurate for colours. Yep. Get my picture, my reference photo sorted. And away we go. So yesterday, I was using this white pastel. It's quite a hard pastel, seems to work quite nicely with the pastel matte paper. Should start coming in through here. And a lot of this is going to become we're gonna be adjusting colours on the fly. So some of it's going to become violet. And eventually we'll get words. It's been a cold start to the day. Just find a colour. We'll stick to, where is it? Where is that red? Go. And we've got a deep magenta. And there's going to be a little shadow. Like some are going to be more shadowy than others. Between each petal. So for darks, I'm going to do a magenta and a blue. And the idea is that, which is what I did for the previous painting. So this is the second time. If you haven't seen me do the first one, then welcome to go back and have a look at that pastel, see how that turned out. And all that I'm doing differently, well, hopefully all that I'm doing differently, is the fact that I've got a different paper. So the pastel matte, which this is, versus the Canson my tientes. And the Canson paper, beautiful cotton rich paper, very good for blending. I've never found the pastel matte, you've got to work a lot harder, get quite a few layers down before the pastels start blending. To begin with, they just stick stick profusely to the paper, which is, that's a good feature, because then you don't have to worry so much about fixative. Although I was looking at fixatives just yesterday. There's a yep, skip. It's an art supply company. Oh, who's ringing me? I'll just have to tell them to call back later. I'll send a message. Can't talk now. I'm in the middle of a live stream. Where was I at? The nice thing about... Oh, so yes, that's right. So my art supply company... And let me just read this message. Okay, that's fantastic. Please do. Streaming on YouTube right now. This is not a good look. Sorry. Oh, there's no one here anyway. So that's okay. You will see this on the replay. Let me finish a story about my art supply company. Very good. They're up in Auckland, New Zealand. Takapuna Art Supplies, their name. If there's any New Zealand folks tuned in, I recommend them. They've got a lovely supply of stuff. Anyway, they sent me on the newsletter a fixative called Natural Glass. And it's a varnish that can be used on the top of pastels, amongst other things. And so I went and checked some forums to see what people thought of it. Apart from one person who had a disaster with it. And either they didn't use it properly, which is what I suspect, or in fact the product may have just reacted badly to their paper. I don't suspect that. I just think they put on too much. You've got to spray these things on in thin coats. That one on the top, or this goes on the side. Sorry, I just do these edges. I should have done them yesterday, but yesterday it was freezing. My fingers weren't working so well. We only want to get an idea of what the edges are going to be. We can come back in with finer tip pastel later if I need to. In fact, that's one thing I've learned about for myself and how I do pastels, and everyone does them differently. And so I don't want to criticize how others do it. I'm just going to say how I do it. And I do not sharpen the tips of my pencils, to be super sharp. I just don't see the point. And sometimes that can be irritating because you can put your pastel down, and because you think you know, the disadvantage is not sharpening them to a point, is you think you know where the tip of the pencil is, and it's not there because you've got this crinkly edge. At the same time, I don't go through my pencils that fast. This has become a bit of a stub, this one. I have to order another one because I use this colour all the time. I love it. Deep magenta. It became a stub because it just kept cracking, and I had to use a knife blade to end up sharpening it. So unfortunately, all my pencil sharpeners have decided to give up at the same time, which is really irritating. Crack on with in here. Now, last time I did this, as I was saying, I was very much dark on light. How it worked. Get my hand. And this time I don't care. I'll scrumble some white on top, but I know I've got a number of layers to do, and they're just gonna take however long they take to do. How that's gone. There, as to there, what I'm doing wrong. But all these graduations of colour going from violet to magenta, and it can be quite sort of confusing. See a nice white that stretches in there. Flip you in. Such a scritchy paper. A real noisy thing to paint on. And I tend to refer to pastel art as painting. You can call it whatever you want. Some have said that the difference between a drawing and a painting is a painting is covered from edge to edge, and a drawing isn't. And yet I've seen paintings where they haven't done that. So I'll spend a little bit of time on this one because I want to get one done that looking close to what I want the others to be. So the other painting I'm working on at the moment is this couple underwater, and I was working on one of his ears, the chap's ears today. That sort of came out okay. Kind of need to use where I'm standing at the moment, so that easel's sitting on my workbench on my next to my PC on my desk. A special chair to sit on doing that. So otherwise, if you just use a normal office chair, um, you wreck your back. At least I wrecked mine. End up with sciatica and all sorts of painful things. Got like a dentist chair. Oops. And it's fine, but I need to fill in a lot of the background. I've decided I want to finish off the background before cracking on too much with it. And so I need to swap this painting out with that one. Enough of that. Always trying to find the contours as you're going. Totally recommend doing that rather than just trying to colour in. Try and find which way is the light falling, and then it'll start to pop. You're trying to get an illusion of get more white in there. An illusion of 3D. That's what we're aiming for. Some dimension and what's going on. Down into the shadows. Too dark, David. Lighten up. That's what we want to do. Going. I'm going to just throw some violet on that now because that's quite a dark shadow in there. All the way up to there. So I don't lose that shadow. And we might use that, pick that on the edge. You. Be a petal that's curling. I need to get some sort of effect where it's curling this way. So that'll be a wee trick to, if I can get that to work, that'll be delightful. build up. Curve. And I don't want it to be not trying to do realism. There's lots of really good channels for realism, and I recommend going to those if that's the sort of style you want to do. I appreciate realism, as I've said many times. Just doesn't excite me. Okay. What a sound. So magenta is the first. So after white is the first cab off the rank. If I'm thinking about color choices, and then in this particular flower, I'm just going around with the magenta, even though that there's lots of other colors to be seen there. So we're going to have this sort of cross of um, hot and cold. So the magenta's hot, the violet's cold. And I can just lay the violet on top of, and that's the plan, is to lay the violet on top. But we want to get some essence of shading going on to begin with. It's not too hard, right? So if you're following along and you're going, oh, I wouldn't mind doing a flower, you have to go, well, it doesn't look like he's doing anything spectacular. And actually, a lot of art isn't spectacular. It's the fact of doing the art. Because no art just appears, unfortunately. Well, you could use AI and then it just appears, but even then, you've got to give it an idea of what you want. But art, for the most part, is like any other job in the world. Just got to do it. And and it will appear once you've done some work. But unless you're willing to pick up the pencils or the, pastel sticks or paints, whatever you like to do your art in, it will all look hard. Although clearly this doesn't look hard because it isn't. I'm not really doing anything. I'm finding where the light is on the paper, on the reference photo, and then I'm trying to transfer what I see from the reference photo um, back onto the paper. Try and get some contours going. We love contours. And then I just layer colour on top. How hard is that? Well, it's what it does require is conquering your fear of messing it up. And that's why I quite like painting on my live streams, because you can see when I make a mistake. And by, I guess this is performative art by painting on the live stream. Just yaking away. But it then makes it easier for when I'm not live to knuckle down and concentrate and work on things like ears. And this other painting I'm doing, he's got an underpainting of blue and she's got an underpainting of green. And so far, they look very different because, well, he's blue and she's green. So let's just step back and have a wee look. That's all right. Down in here, I'm going to have a lot more hot pink, a hotter magenta. because this is primarily, oh, actually there's got a lot of magenta in this one. I'm going to say this is probably more of a violet. And it is, it's kind of, this section is violet and this section is not. Drop in a little bit of hot pink to get it going. Rich our way. Probably if you're into ASMR, you'll probably enjoy the sound of pastel on the paper. But if you hate things like, fingernails on blackboards, hopefully it's not conjuring up that sort of memory for you. Got this beautiful yellowy haze in here. Just get a touch of it going. Already, it's a hot, bit of a hero colour. Lovely. Like more of that through the picture as we go. We've just got to do the work to begin with, and the work is getting the undercolours done. And it is just work. There you go. What you up to? Okie dokie. Is heading out for a walk without me, by the way, which I'm okay with. I need to crack on with this. What going on in here? And a stronger edge. Let's drop in a strong edge. Okay. Where was I? Just check that. It's going okay. I'm just checking what it looks like on the replay. It's looking all right. Get the picture. Don't want to end up with sometimes just got to keep getting the building up. And what always happens is you just build up for some time and then suddenly the picture will appear. It doesn't sort of come when you want it to, but if you're patient, it will appear. I can see I'm going to end up with, and that was one of what I wanted to discover in doing this particular painting. You know, following on exactly the same subject matter, um, same colours, same pastels, just different paper. I wanted to know what's the difference. And on the Canson paper, you just don't need as many layers. In fact, you really restrict yourself. We have to otherwise it'll turn to mud. It's really disappointing when that happens. So you're being much more cautious about what you paint. But with this particular paper, just have at it, because you're going to get a lot of layers on. And so I suspect it's going to end up more lush, what I'm suspecting. Could be wrong. Often am. Or I'm often surprised. I think that's like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. I'm going to end up with quite a few layers, I think. So next time I crack on with this painting online, hopefully I should have done all this preparatory work, and I'll probably be on to the violets. So I don't want to. I mean, the great thing about streams is you can just drop in and drop out, right? You don't have to watch the whole thing. Just watch the bit that, if you tune up and there's something interesting going on, that's great. That one. But I don't like doing something that could be considered just a bit tedious. But I got to tell you, a lot of art is tedious. It's work, as I said. However, I think I've had enough locking in for now. I'll finish my drink. It goes hideously cold. Yeah. And we'll come back to this puppy next week and see what sort of progress we're at. Will it be next week? Oh, I really need to finish it this week. Oh, what day is it? Wednesday. I better crack on later today and tomorrow. Have a session on Saturday or something, and hopefully that'll be the last bit of it. Until then, thanks so much for those watching on the replay. Appreciate you dropping by for however long you do so.